Good morning, everyone. David Paul speaking, Managing Director of VectorVest in the UK. And certainly markets have had a good week with the FTSE 100 closing above that big 8,000 number. So let's have a look at the VectorVest composite at the start. That's the composite over the last year and a month or so. It's an equally weighted index of all of the shares that we follow on the London markets. And those red and green triangles represent the longest term measure of our market timing system. They're known as confirmed calls. And the last confirmed call up occurred on November the 5th. Now, the jury's certainly still out as to whether this is a rally in a bear market or whether, in fact, a new bull market has started. I think the most positive thing that you can see on the chart is that for the first time in the last year, it's made what chartists refer to as a rising bottom. So we've had the first rising bottom and market moving up very nicely indeed. So I'm certainly holding long positions and I've got a few to suggest for you as well. So if we move in and have a look at BP. Now BP, I spoke to the VectorVest regulars about, and I have a position running in BP since the breakout. As you can see, it broke out of that ascending triangle on big volume. It's undervalued on VectorVest, and earnings per share growing strongly, and I'm sure you've all read the news. It's going sideways at the moment. It's going sideways within on low volume, and that's always a good sign. Now, yesterday it charted an outside day, and I still think there's another leg up in this. I don't like to buy into stocks that are extended, but nevertheless I think that there's another leg up in this. So I think there's a swing trade long in BP just about to pitch up. I have a long position, and I would consider adding to that long position if it does break the tops. I see it's off a little bit today. This is Bloomsbury, and Bloomsbury I've held right since it's one of the first stocks that I bought way back after the COVID sell-off in 2020, in March 2020. Earnings per share are still rising strongly, as you can see on the chart, and it's pulled back to a very good level of support. And I think that when that hold on VectorVest changes to a buy, I will add to that position, assuming the general market is still rising. So I've added to that position 2 or 3 times along the way since March 2020, but it's at an exceptionally good level. Those of you that are chartists will see that it's in fact charted what a chartist of yesteryear, a gentleman by the name of Richard Wyckoff, would have in fact referred to as a Wyckoff spring, which is a very positive pattern in markets. Invariably, it precedes a strong and a fast move, and the Wyckoff spring I go through in detail at our VectorVest Monday afternoon seminars and all our training. This is Plus. Well, Plus had a good week news-wise. It still hasn't broken up through that 52-week high. I'm certainly holding my position. I think that there's a huge target in Plus. I don't think it's going to shoot the lights out in terms of a momentum type, strong momentum move, but nevertheless, I think it's poised to move up and maybe even double over the next couple of years. Games Workshop, I've spoken about it at the last 2 core finance talks. It's going sideways in that ascending wedge. Volatility is being compressed. If you actually look at the bars and the candles, you can see that the distance between the high and the low, the body of the candle is incredibly small, and that's what some people refer to as a volatility contraction pattern. No volume at all, so there's no sellers around, and I think that that thing is going to break upwards relatively soon. I've added to that position at the previous consolidation, and I'm looking forward to adding to it again. Anglo-Eastern Plantations has pulled back to support. Now, I've shown a weekly chart over, 3 years. In my own work, ladies and gentlemen, I start with a 5-year chart, then I go to a 2-year chart, 5-year weekly chart. I look at a 2-year daily chart, and then a chart over 6 to 9 months, a daily chart over 6 or 9 months. I haven't got time to go through that process here, so I just pick the time frame that tells my story best. This is a weekly chart. As you can see, earnings per share, that thick blue line below the price is rising and rising linearly. The green line is the vector-based valuation. So we can see that the stock is significantly undervalued on vector-based. Now, in the lowest window, I'm looking at the MACD indicator, moving average, converging, diverging. And that has just given a buy signal. But the important thing about the buy signal is that the signal is preceded by about a year's worth of divergence. And that's a signal that many chartists refer to as a slingshot. So it's on a hold recommendation on vector-based. And if it were to break that down-sloping trend line that defines that last little triangle on the chart, and we move to a buy, then I will add to that position. I've already got a position in that stock. I will add to that position. When I'm right, folks, I want to be as big as possible. And when I'm wrong, I want to be as small as possible. Now, Hostile World, again, my favorite ascending triangle. I spoke about this on Core Finance before it broke. It broke up very nicely. It's now pulled back. Very difficult to see anything on the volume patterns because it's not well traded. I have a position from the breakout, and if it were to break that last high, I will add to that position. Earnings per share still growing strongly. My stop loss is at the entry point. So, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday afternoon, the American market gapped down on a very, very hot or high PPI number from the US. It actually filled the gap, and it went up and filled the gap on fairly low volume. And then in the last half of the session, it fell on fairly high volume. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see the American market pull back a little bit from here, based on market action yesterday. Monday is a holiday in the American market, so I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a relatively quiet day today, both sides of the Atlantic. So the trends on in both sides of the Atlantic on vector-based are up. I'm holding positions until that changes. I'll be on Core Finance next week, hopefully, and we'll have a look at the situation then. If you want a trial of vector-based, all you've got to do is to go to vector-based.co.uk, and you can try our product worldwide, a full version of the product, not a cutback version of the product, a full version of the product for 30 days for a $5. Thanks very much indeed.